Um, how would you define your spirituality or religion in its role in your life, and maybe its connections to what you're doing now?
Well, I was raised Catholic, so I'm baptized and communioned and confirmed and all of that stuff. I don't practice Catholicism anymore. I don't actually practice any religion. And I think the reason for that is that I felt like it was just something that was expected of me growing up. It was something that I never really understood. Like, there was never a lot of time or voice given to why we were not supposed to do certain things, why we were supposed to do other things. And so I sort of grew up like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I guess just to please my parents because I'm supposed to, and all of that, and really being able to be at the university and sort of feeling some pressure by my family to continue going to church while I was at the school, and being like, God, I don't want to. I'm sorry, I just don't really want to. And having time to sort of explore, be out from that every day, every Wednesday and Sunday ritual of going to like youth group and church on Sundays. What religion meant to me, and what I come up with was very patriarchal, at least the church that I attended. It was very finances were very important for the church. Like they were always just like, donate more. And that I never really got my questions answered as to why certain things were certain ways. And I remember one of the questions I asked one of the priests was, so my mom being married before, her husband had an affair, an ongoing affair, and they went back and forth for a few years trying to work it out, but yet he would never stop having an affair. And looking at Catholic, like the practice of Catholicism, that thou shalt not commit adultery, so that's one of your 10 commandments, and yet divorce is very looked down upon, and if you ever want to get remarried in the church again, you have to get permission from the Pope, and it's a whole big thing. So, looking at that, I remember asking him, is my mother considered a sinner because she's divorced and remarried? Or is it okay because the initial sin was the adultery that her ex-husband committed, and therefore she had the right to divorce him? Or was she supposed to stay in that and try to make it work? And and she and her first husband went to counseling in the church, and she was basically told they needed to work it out. And I'm in there, and I'm thinking I was a teenager, I'm hearing about that what? There's nothing to work out. You just got to stop it. And I feel like she had, and my thought was, you should have divorced him, because had you not, you would never have married my dad. We would not be a family. I would not be here, and we're a good family. My parents have been married for 30 years, and my thought around that, basically the men made up the rules to say, my mother is bad because she got divorced, and this is, the consequence for that, and all of these things, and because of that, my parents weren't married in the Catholic Church, which is probably pretty difficult for my dad, and that's, and my dad being Mexican and all of that. But anyway, besides that, and looking at all of that and feeling like that felt very, I wouldn't have said this at the time because I didn't have the language, but patriarchal, very oppressive, very, gender stereotyping, and there wasn't a lot of, I don't think there was a lot of room for questioning, what about this? And I also remember having this question with the priest, okay, in the times of slavery, people used the Bible and God to justify having slaves. And I said, but that to me would be the ultimate sin. I can't even imagine, slavery in existence, how that played out. And if you really, in all of your heart, believe that you are justified by the Bible with owning slaves, do you go to heaven or do you go to hell? Because ultimately what you're doing is imprisoning another human being, and, whatever. That's evil. In my mind, it's absolutely evil. But yet, if you feel justified in your actions, and then, I'm thinking, where are those people? You know what I mean? Where is, Thomas Jefferson? Because he has all these, children from slaves and held slaves, and yet he's always revered in this country. All these things, like these are all complicated ideas I had in high school as I was going through confirmation classes. And when I asked, I would never get answers. It'd just be like, shut up, Yolanda. You know what I mean? Like, don't ask. Just learn your verses and everything. And so when I got into college and was away from that, it was like, I felt like total freedom.
Yeah.
I felt like I could be like, wow, because it was never fair anyway to not have those questions answered for me, and now I can think about it myself and blah, blah, blah. That's always been probably a point of contention between my parents and I, because I think they're very disappointed in me that I don't continue to practice religion. I do attend Easter Mass with them. I do attend Christmas with them because I'm at home, but and when I go to Mexico, I attend church with my grandfather, but I do that out of respect for him.
Yeah.
And I do it out of respect for my parents. I don't do it because I agree with the church. The institution of it, right. And ultimately, to me, it's like, it's a bunch of white men in Europe who wrote all of those laws anyway, and I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
So,
and years ago.